Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Brett Fontaine.
I'm 11 years old. I'm in my cousin's bedroom. The door is closed. Giuseppe and Antonio are on the other side of their bed being like, dude, have you hit puberty yet? Have your balls gotten big? And I'm 11 going like, I don't know how to talk about this. And this is really weird. Dude, Giuseppe's balls are huge. I'm like, okay, good. And they're like, look. Giuseppe's shorts come down a little bit because it's summertime. And Antonio does a little helpful point out. He slides his finger behind his balls to lift him up. And he's like, look at how huge his balls are. And my mother's like, they're called privates because they're private, is just being shattered. And I'm like, they're big. Those are bigger than mine. No, my balls haven't been growing. And Antonio's like, well, mine have too. Boom. I'm like, well, you guys are, 13 and 14. I'm 11. So right there, the gate is crashed in terms of what's appropriate of keeping privates private. So it's only a couple years later. It's July. We're in their parents' van. And it's totally cheeched out with it's like a 1-ton van, but my uncle's a carpenter, so he's made sure the back is this kind of C-shaped bench with a table that comes out on a post. You take the post out and it becomes a bed. Boom. Carpeting from floor to ceiling. So they're like, oh, our parents are gone, Have you jerked off yet? I was like, maybe. I don't know. They're like, come on, we're gonna go and jerk off in the van. Okay, sure, all right. The balls thing wasn't that scary once I thought about it, so why not? What could go wrong? So we get in the van, and they're off like a shot because they're like this Italian hit squad of sex. So they're just Joe's in the pool of light from the ceiling vent, touching himself, stroking himself, and Antonio's just I don't know, I need a cushion or something to do it. So he's on the cushion, and I'm just kind of slowly pulling my pants down, okay, like you do at Hot Spring for the first time, where you're like, oh, okay, do this, and start it up, and just being okay, it's my cousins, who cares? And so I start to kind of sink into it, and part of it is my cousins are kind of hot, and this van is kind of making it hot, and it's fucking July in '85, so it's fucking hot. So we do the deed, it's just okay, that went well, for a circle jerk. Once I learned it was a circle jerk. And so years go by. I'm grown up, I've graduated high school, and it's Christmas time. And the time of joy, it's snowing outside, snow is pooling in the lamplight. I'm up in my bedroom, which used to be my sister's room, having my first threesome. And it's weird because my sister's, it was kind of decorated to be my sister's room. So there's colonial floral print wallpaper. And I'm getting down with these two people. And, all of a sudden there's this pounding at the door. Hey, let me in. It's my brother. And he's like, come on, you guys, let me in. And so Antonio and Giuseppe hop up out of bed. And then start pulling on their pants, and they're like, God, that fucker, I thought we ditched him at the party. Because we had come from a family reunion. We're like, we're going to go pick up some games. And then they got randy, and they're like, come on, why not? So I'm hearing like from the front row, oh wow. So I know everybody's like, oh my God, incest taboo, my head's exploding. When you're queer, all of your sex is taboo. So I kind of feel like, no, number one, there ain't gonna be no babies coming out of this. And number two, it was the height of the AIDS epidemic, and I'm thinking, they're bisexual, they're having sex. I'm the only man who's having sex with them, so, oh, thank God, safe. Safe fuck buddies. Anyway, back to like this whole panic situation, because my brother's still pounding on the door and he's angry because we gave him the slip, because my brother also got wrapped up with having some cousin sex as well. So he was kind of jealous that it was going on without him. He's getting angrier outside, and all of a sudden we hear this blam hit the door, and we hear the door splinter, and I whip open the door. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And there's like a huge divot taken out of the wood door where it was a shitty pine door, but he had hit it with a boot and cracked it. I was like, come on, dude, really? I mean, are you that desperate? It was one of those things where it kind of got normalized after a little while. And I found myself, just because in Wisconsin there's in my experience, there was a lot of kind of, sex for sex sake. A lot of, what do you call it? MSM, men who have sex with men, but they're not interested in intimacy. Nor was I as a late teen, but as the years go on, I started to get kind of lonely, and then I started to get that feeling when you're just kind of whoring around in your 20s, where you're just like, I just want to be loved. I'm so alone. This sucks, So I'm going to go have sex again with my cousin. And so I was just like, this has got to stop, okay? So finally, I kind of got on the road. I moved out to Portland. And that's where I learned, West Coast is really awesome. And it was the first time I had really kind of had this experience where I met people, became friends with them, and they're like, oh, do you have a partner? Well, I know you're gay, but there's got to be another guy out there for you. I know a guy, let's get you set up. How's your dating life? Are you in love with someone? Meanwhile, back in Wisconsin, when I'm interacting with people, this is what I get. Oh, you're gay? You can still hang with us. No, we don't want to hear about it. You can still be with us, though. And I was like, oh, tolerance, acceptance. Oh, hold on. But periodically, through my time living here in Portland, and I was back in the mid-'90s, I would fly back for the Christmas celebration, because I actually come from a huge family. My father is one of 11 children in his family, and I've got like 22 cousins. So what's a couple? And we would just kind of go out drinking and stuff like that over a few years. But there was one point where my grandmother was kind of on death's door, so I had to fly back a little bit early, and it was nice because I'm close with my family, not just the two I go to bed with, but we're close, and they're really supportive, great people, and I cannot fault them really for much. So everybody's stressed out. Grandma's dying, and she did expire during that trip. I hope you're not listening. She probably is, and she's like, I knew it. Something different about that one. And so we kind of said goodbye to our mother. We were pallbearers. Everybody's kind of sad. And it was just one of those moments where we were out drinking. We ended up at Giuseppe's house so he could get changed. And then, one thing led to another. And it was kind of one of those moments where you like immediately you regret the thing. Like, why did I do that? Oh, why did I do that? Oof. And I think one of the big parts of that feeling was listening to Giuseppe talk about like, girls just don't get it, I don't know. When I've only been with like you and maybe one other guy, but guys, no, they understand how this works. And like, I don't have a problem with that. And I'm just listening to it going like, why don't you just come out and have some satisfying relationships. That's what's going on in my head. And I'm just thinking to myself, ugh, this is one of the reasons why I left in the first place, is I wanted to recapture some dignity and some intimacy and things of that nature, which I was starting to do in Portland. So I kind of, at that point, washed my hands of it a little bit and just kind of said my goodbyes, my I love yous, and, got onto that plane to fly away. And I was just looking out the window as we're kind of taking off, and I see, the farm fields and the dairy pastures covered in snow falling away beneath me, and thinking to myself, I think I'm just going to leave that baggage there, and I'm just going to keep going ahead and never do that again. And I'm thankful because now I've been with a partner for 6 years and have the intimacy and have the joy that I had once hoped for. So I'm Brett Fontaine. Thank you.